Hey everybody, Nicole Bowman here, psychic, medium, and intuitive artist. So I hope that everybody is doing well tonight. It's actually a late night, but I thought I would come on and do a live. So we may be doing some readings tonight. We may be talking about a couple of other things, but I know I have not been on TikTok as much. I've not been as active. And that's primarily because I've been doing a lot of readings with my regular clients and just taking time for myself. So I'm going to give us some time to get into the room. I want to say hello to everybody that's coming into the room. And if you are brand new, my name is Nicole Bowman. I'm a psychic, medium, and intuitive artist. I've been reading professionally for well over a decade. And I just wanted to come in tonight kind of to share some guidance and information, to share some predictions as well. I also have my coffee, actually. So if you have a coffee or you want coffee, go ahead and brew yourself some. I know it's pretty late. Normally I don't do readings this late or do lives this late, but I'll wait for people to get into the room. So I want to just say hello to everybody. And if you can, just type in the comments that you can hear me, because I'm not using my headphones tonight. I'm just using the microphone on my phone. So just type in the comments if you can hear me. Just type yes, no, we can hear you. I just want to make sure that I can be heard. So I'm just looking. Okay, so I'm already kind of seeing what looks like the screen slowing down. So I might have to go in and come back. We'll see. Hopefully we can do the live. So, hey everybody, my name is Nicole Bowman. I'm a psychic, medium, and intuitive artist. I've been reading professionally for well over a decade. And I wanted to come on tonight, probably quickly, to just share some guidance and information with people and just share something that was coming through from spirit. I personally am an American. I'm from the United States of America. I know everyone around the world is seeing what's going on in my country of origin. And I wanted to just share some information and give some people comfort. And I wanted to share something that spirit was telling me. You know, over the course of these past couple of weeks, but this week especially, one of the things that spirit was telling me is to use what I have. You know, spirit was emphatic about using what I have, meaning that don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff that you don't need. Don't panic buy things, but also look at what is around you and use what is around you to make and build a life. And obviously with that, we could talk about money, we could talk about things, we could talk about stuff. But the bigger message I think that spirit was trying to share with that is that when it comes to this thing called life, when it comes to career, when it comes to success, when it comes to whatever that is, use what you have at your disposal to make a life. You know, oftentimes we will have an excuse of, well, I can't do this because I don't have enough money. I don't have that because I don't have the right connections. I don't have, versus asking yourself, what do I have to say? What do I have to contribute? What is unique about me that I can share with the world? Hi, Penny. I want to say hello. Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you for the bracelet as well, Penny. I appreciate you. So, asking yourself, you know, what do you have to give? What do you have to offer? And Spirit was saying very clearly before I came on the live, use what you have and take what you need. You know, many years ago, when I was a college student at NYU in New York, long time ago, and you can still see this around different parts of major cities, but a long time ago, people used to put up paper flyers with their phone numbers attached to the bottom, and they write their phone numbers, and you just rip off the phone number and, you know, go about your business and call the person on the flyer, what have you. And I remember there was a person who started to leave these flyers around campus, and around campus, the person would write, "Take what you need." And what they would write is joy, peace, love, comfort. Take what you need, right? So really consider what it is that you genuinely need to survive, what it is you genuinely need to be happy, and focus on that. We're coming into some challenging times. I mean, in a lot of respects, we're already there, but we're also coming into some simpler times too, in the sense that even though we're in a global economy, our world is starting to get smaller. It's going to be about your local community. It's going to be about chosen family. It's going to be about friends. That's where the focus is at. I want to say hello to Arnesia. Thank you so much, Arnesia, for supporting and being in the live. I want to say hello to Evan Scalito, Lupe. I see so many people are coming into the live. If you have any questions, if there's anything that you want to type in the comments tonight, the focus is really kind of about what's going on in the United States of America, politically for sure, but beyond that, it's really about how to survive, right? It's about how to survive. In African spirituality, there's a lot of focus and emphasis on ancestors. And it's not about worshiping the ancestors or seeing the ancestors as God, but it is about elevating the ancestors and thanking them, because through them, through their sacrifices, through their struggles, we are actually here. I descend from slaves, I descend from indigenous folk, I descend from slavers. And I definitely know my indigenous ancestors and my African ancestors were not meant to survive. They were not intended to survive this. And yet I know they survived because I'm here. So this is the thing. You have ancestors who have been through far worse, that have lived, that have survived, that have birthed children, that have gone to college and university, that have lived to see another day, that have been preachers and healers and medicine men and women. You have ancestors that have survived all of that. You have ancestors that have survived wars, that have fought in wars, that have liberated our brothers and sisters in concentration and internment camps. And some of those ancestors are not even ancestors yet, because some of them are still physically here. So I'm saying all of that to say that we stand on the shoulders of a mighty people. And so you have to dig deep and dig within, and you have to ask them, how did you survive? Arnesia says, yes, I agree. It wasn't easy for them. It wasn't. It wasn't. It really, really wasn't. And if you're wondering how to survive now, I would speak to them. I would speak to your evolved ancestors, and I would open up a prayer, and I would say, show me how you did it. How did you do it? How did you get through? And wait for the answer. It's funny. I fast a lot. Spirit has been telling me, like, I do fast, but they have been impressing upon me in this year of 2025 to fast more frequently. And so when I fast more frequently, I don't go grocery shopping every day as I normally do. And today I wasn't fasting, but I had like some food in the house, but I hadn't really gone grocery shopping. And, I put together what we would call a struggle meal. And in Italian, that struggle meal is cacio e pepe. And basically what it is it's pasta, a little bit of cheese, garlic butter, and a little bit of pepper and some salt. And you make a simple little pasta. And if you have bread, you serve with bread. And if not, you just eat it as is. And also in Mexico, our Mexican brothers and sisters, they have fideo, it's kind of similar. Just a simple pasta. You can add olive oil, you can add tomato, a little bit of garlic, onion. That's it. Just a simple meal. But I was thinking about how, yeah, that's what I happen to have in the house at that moment. And so I used what I had and made a meal. And I think we're going to be called on to do that a lot more. Penny says, but they learn the skills that the modern world knows nothing about. Very, very true. Very, very true. I think I think practical skills, but I also think those things that are not as tangible in a way, meaning that you need to know where to focus your energy and where to place your energy, right? Like considering the fact that sometimes there are certain things that we just can't focus on anymore because if we focus on that, we're not going to be focused on living to see another day or the future because we're getting distracted. You know, one of the major things that Spirit continues to say, and I'll continue to share this with people, make sure just on a basic level that you stock up on basic foodstuffs like rice, beans, flour, um, water, bottled water. These are things that I've been saying this for a long time. I've been sharing this with people, but it is very, very important that you just stock up on those things and have those things at your disposal. Very, very important. Make sure you have batteries. Make sure you have candles. Make sure you have matches. Make sure you have some sort of a fire source. If you can afford it, have a generator. Like these are things that you are going to need. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The storms, especially in the United States of America, actually, but throughout the Caribbean as well, and Puerto Rico is also obviously a part of the US, the storms are only going to intensify. This wild weather is only going to intensify. So, this is why it's so important to dig within and ask Spirit, where do I need to be at this point in my life? Like, where geographically, God, Great Spirit, do you want me or need me to be? Because the place that Spirit calls you to be generally is the place where you're going to be the vibrational match to it. So you're going to be able to live life and you're going to be able to do life there. So really, really consider that. I want to talk to the artist a little bit. I feel like there's some artists in the room, and also I will probably put this live up at some other point as well on some of my other channels. If you want to follow me on YouTube, my YouTube channel is Live the Light. It's youtube.com/ at live, Live, the light, Light. I just say that because I'm seeing so many things changing on this app, and that's why I haven't been as readily on this app. Eve says, what about solar panels? Um, I feel like you have to go within intuitively to determine if that's going to work for you. For some reason, and I don't know why it is because I'm not technologically savvy, just to be clear. I feel like there are certain parts of the world, and this doesn't even have anything to do with like the frequency of the sun or the weather, just to be clear. I'm just getting a feeling there are certain parts of the world where solar panels will work really well. There are other places where there will be some sort of a conflict. So you have to look at your general area and see what's available and see what's allowed. But yes, if you get a sense and impression in your area that you want to do that, I would go for it. I would also say when it comes to chargers and different things, definitely get chargers that are solar powered. You know, when I lived in Puerto Rico, because we were prone to power outages a lot and flooding and different things, I got solar powered appliances, so like solar powered chargers, a solar powered radio with a crank. Like these are things that, you know, if you don't need them, great. But sometimes these are things that you're going to need at your disposal. You're going to need to have them. Arnice says that's true about solar, actually. Yeah, you know, I don't like that's the thing. I don't know a whole lot about it. Interesting though, the building that I live in, they just had solar panels put on the on the roof, actually, oddly enough. So like, go figure. But I do know some places you're not able to get them, or I can't get them. There's some sort of a conflict. That's just what I'm hearing. So you just need to check that out and see. But yes, whatever solar you can do to have at your disposal, you should have at your disposal. Um, and when it comes to food stuff, I'm going to say it again: rice, beans, cereal, dried goods, water. You know, once again, if you shop at like the Dollar Tree, for example, and you live in the United States, or you shop at, like, depending upon your background, you know, if you're Latino, or if you're from the Caribbean, if you shop at certain Caribbean markets, or if you shop at the market where there's a lot of food from Latin America, those are great places to stock up on things because you can buy a lot in bulk. If you go to the Asian market, you could buy huge bags of rice, huge bags of lentils, huge bags of beans. You can buy huge bags of spices for a relatively low price. Um, Make sure you have you're supposed to have your spices, have your cinnamon, your turmeric, your ginger, these different things, because also these things are medicinal. Um, yeah. Yeah. So a lot of these things are medicinal. So make sure you have them at your disposal. A lot of people also might be called to fast, meaning that you're taking no food. Maybe you're taking water. Maybe you're taking herbal teas, things that don't have calories. A lot of times that's for the health and the overall strength of your body and your digestion, but it's also because the energy that you would be using to digest the food, you're able to just think and rest and pray, and to receive vision from spirit. Arnesia says, I've been fasting by accident. If you know, I do know what you mean, because sometimes I've definitely had days where I've been fasting by accident too. I know exactly what you mean. And Arnesia, thank you for being here and supporting. Yeah, many of us might be called to fast more though, because it's interesting. I think it was the other day when I was fasting, and Spirit was like, and I was in a space where I was actually trying to get up and do a lot and do too much. And Spirit was like, Nicole, fasting is really a time for you to rest. You need to let your body rest. You need to let your body rest. And I'm going to say this especially for the way that we should be doing labor for other people, that we should be the entertainment. Ladies, you need to rest. Allow your body to rest. Allow yourself to get back into balance. Allow yourself to recalibrate. And for some reason, I'm talking to somebody here. This might be somebody who's in the room now. This might be somebody who's going to come later. I keep seeing something about the gaze of other people and how other people view you, and getting really, really caught up in how other people see you. And you have to understand at this juncture in our collective world and history, how other people see you does not matter. What matters is how you see and view yourself. And what matters is what you do when nobody's looking. That's more important than how people view you or how you exist in their imagination. Arnesia says, I will say I've had the most energy and clarity for ideas for my business without as much food consumption. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think it has a way of giving you clarity about what is most important. I also think that for some people, because of certain food shortages and I'm just looking at the room, you guys. I'm just looking. Yeah. So I wanted to talk feel better. And while I think in the long run, if you're with a good psychic, medium, or intuitive, oh, Penny says the live is freezing a lot. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't know if it's my internet. I don't think it is. I think it's the app. This is part of why I'm not on the app as much, because I know I'm noticing the glitching and things like that. The best way to stay in contact with me, if you want to stay in contact, my website is, I'm going to pause for a second because I saw it glitch. My website is NicoleBowman.biz. And you can go to my website and click on my contact page, and you can sign up for my newsletter. I don't send newsletters all the time. But recently I've been sending them about once a month. And it's really just updates of what I'm doing, insights from spirit, that type of thing. Penny says, it's everybody's lives. Yeah, I think so. He says, it's everybody's lives. Yeah, I think so. I've just noticed it. I've noticed the site is very, very glitchy. Arnesia says, yeah, if I like the live, it glitches for a sec. So it's, yeah, I definitely feel like it's the app. And I feel like this is only going to continue to intensify, which is why I will probably be on YouTube a lot more. And even some of the lives, I don't put all of the TikTok lives onto YouTube, but I do put a lot of them on there. So if you go to youtube.com/at live the light, you'll see a couple of the lives up. I put them up in their entirety because some of the lives have been anywhere from like, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half. Um, and we just don't have the capability or capacity to put that here on the site. Yeah, I mean, I have sort of accepted that the glitches are probably going to be a part of just the new normal on the site. That's what I've accepted. But what I wanted to say about psychic readings is that the purpose of a reading is really to guide you. It's to share your spiritual lessons. It's to share what that psychic medium or intuitive sees coming for you. And it's an opportunity to help you prepare. And sometimes what the psychic medium or intuitive shares with you, at least initially, may not really be comforting. I'm just using an example, but let's say, for example, they see that somebody you're dating is cheating on you, for example. That's not a comforting feeling, right? Like nobody wants to hear that news. But if what they're saying turns out to be true, you can then kind of decide how you want to move forward with your life. And you don't have to be in fear and you don't have to be in the dark anymore because you know. So that's just the thing. Sometimes readings are meant to illuminate sometimes what is hidden. And through that illumination, eventually, you typically will feel better because you're walking and living in truth. But you may not immediately feel better. Arnesia says, yeah, it's uncomfortable but needed. Steph says, absolutely. I'd rather be told, even if it was hard to hear. Yeah, I mean, I think that, because for some reason, I think that that's a misconception. It seems like a lot of people have that misconception. Like they almost approach the reading as if they're ordering off of a menu. And then if they don't get the meal to their liking, they don't perceive the reading as accurate. When in actuality, the way you test the accuracy of a reading is by what actually happens. So for example, oh, thank you, Steph, for the flowers. I appreciate you. Thank you. So what actually happens is, you test the accuracy of a reading by if the majority of what the psychic said comes true. Right? Timing can vary, but if the majority of what they said happens, you have an accurate reader. And even with very accurate readers, it doesn't mean they're going to be right about everything. It just doesn't. So you have to bear in mind that you're dealing with a human being who's channeling divine information, who's interpreting it. And because of that, we're going to be prone to some degree of error. So you have to keep that in mind. But I think that this is very important to note because what I've noticed in my private work, not so much with my private clients on my website, but I have noticed this with third-party sites, psychic lines and things like that. I've noticed more and more people being desperate and demanding an answer they want in like 5 minutes or less. And if you have a very complicated situation, 5 minutes is not going to satisfy what's in your mind. Steph says, do you have any advice on how to get in tune with one's intuition? I do. And this is something that I share with people all the time. Most of the time, your intuition is alive and it's working fine. You're just second guessing it. So what I recommend is go way, way back to when you were a small child and you believed in yourself, right? Like, how children at a certain point before the world gets in their mind, they'll be very sure and certain of themselves and they'll know this is right for me, this is wrong for me. They'll just know in their gut. Go back and I would do it before you go to sleep, actually. I would count back to the age that you can remember where you were very, very sure of yourself, almost to the point where people said you were cocky, but you were actually just sure of yourself. And I want you to think back to the things you thought about at that time. And I want you to imagine something that you knew was right for you or you knew was not. Or maybe it was a family member that you knew something was off about them. Or maybe there was something you knew, I want to do this, I need to do this. And you can remember that as a kid. I want you to go back to that sensation. That little sensation is your intuition. Just that little thing that I mentioned, it's your intuition. It's just a gut instinct. It's a gut instinct. It's an inner knowing. It's just a do or a don't, a will or a won't. It's not logical. Because when we're children, we're thinking about our day to day and our survival. We're going from thing to thing to thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we're not getting hypercritical. We're not getting super philosophical. We're not weighing and equivocating just yet, because there's a part of us that still has our innocence. It's once we lose that innocence, or that innocence is taken, that's around the time that the intuition get a little wonky. So you have to dial it back before all of that happened, and you'll remember that it was just a clear knowing about things. Oh, that man over there is a bad man. He's not a good person. Or a clear knowing about things. Oh, I can trust my grandma. That's the intuition. Oh, you're welcome, Steph. Arnesia says, my dreams have been very promising lately. What I dream comes true the same week. You know what, Arnesia, that is so interesting that you said that, because I kind of get the feeling too, that for a lot of people, things that they are dreaming, they're sensing, they're thinking about are happening almost instantaneously. And I feel like that's actually because the veil between this world and the spirit world is thinning. So what's happening is we're starting to bend time. So time, it almost feels like it's speeding up. You know, it's very interesting that you said that, because I think a lot of people are going through that. It's like time is speeding up. Yeah. Oh, you're very welcome, Steph. Also, I recommend a book by a psychic medium. Her name is Bodine. The book is called A Still Small Voice, and it teaches you how to listen and trust your intuition. And also, Bodine, she's still to this day, she lives in Minnesota, but to this day, she still teaches classes. I remember a couple years ago when I was living in Puerto Rico, I did a channeling class with her. And it was really, really good. I really enjoyed her classes. And she's a really kind person too. Arnesia says, like, things I didn't expect to, or even small things, but they're happening. Yeah, I concur. I concur. Also, I'm seeing that people are following me on TikTok. Thank you very much for that. You know, when I get on the live, I always usually I just have a message in my mind that I want to deliver. And so sometimes I forget all the housekeeping stuff, like follow me, like this live. But sure, if you like the live and if you enjoy it, I think we have like about 7,000 people coming in and out of the room from what I can see. So absolutely, please like this live. If you want to share it with people, share it, promote it. I welcome that. Thank you so much. And definitely follow me here on TikTok. I plan to keep up my TikTok page as long as the app is in existence. So as long as the app is here, unless it just gets absolutely insane, I will probably stay. The name of the book by Bodine is called A Still Small Voice. A Still Small Voice. And her first name is Echo and her last name is Bodine. And you could find it pretty much everywhere. You could probably get it at the library. It's been in print for a very long time at this point. It's a really, really good book. She's written a number of other books too, but that's the one that I always recommend when people are asking about intuition. And also, if you like recorded material on intuition, I actually have recorded a spiritual seekers bundle and a guidance for psychics bundle on my website. If you click on my link tree and go to my Gumroad site, it says subscribe, you'll see a list of recorded material. And some of the things that I offer is how to tap into your intuition, how to listen to your intuition. So if you just go to my link tree here on TikTok, you can click on that and you'll see it, or you can go to gumroad.com/live the light. But I know that's a lot of information. So that's why I say just go to my link tree and click on the subscribe button. You'll see everything there. Arnesia says, I'm going to get the book for my daughter. Yeah, I think she'd love it. She'd really love it. And also, too, intuition is simple. That's the thing. Like, people make it complicated because they think that it's emotional. Intuition is not emotional. They're confusing intuition with clairsentience. Clairsentience is a psychic ability that is a feeling. Intuition is not a feeling. It's just a gut instinct. It's literally like, that person is not cool. That person is cool. I should take that job. I should not take that job. It's literally just information. There's nothing psychic about it. And a lot of times people will take intuition and they'll take clairsentience and they'll mix them together thinking they're the same thing, and they're not. But the thing is, you can use your intuition to decode your psychic abilities. So say, for example, if I get like a really weird feeling about somebody, I could intuitively ask, okay, this feeling I have about them, should I pay more attention to that? And then I just listen to my intuition, and my intuition says yes. And so I start paying more attention. That's also how you use intuition to do mediumship readings. Like, say, for example, if you talk to spirit, you have to be able to discern spirits, because there are spirits that can come to you looking like an angel, but they're not. Right? So intuitively, you can ask God, ask Creator, is this soul of the light? Or are they of divine light? And you might immediately get a yes or immediately get a no. You always want to discern things. Use your intuition to ask those questions. Arnesia says, I always ask what to do. This person remind me of who. I always ask what does this person remind me of, or who? And that usually answers it for me too. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Like, say, for example, if you meet somebody also and they feel familiar and you're like, who do they remind me of in my life? And then if a person comes into your mind that you have a great relationship with, you're like, oh, okay, so this might actually be a good relationship. Or maybe a person comes into your mind that's not such a great relationship and you're like, okay, I better watch this one. You see, that's also Spirit's way of giving you messages. Like, I don't know how many of you have ever watched medium shows, but sometimes there are mediums who will talk about the symbols that Spirit will give them for certain things. So for example, if they see like a butterfly, the butterflies are a symbol for somebody's grandmother passing away, right? So when a person comes in and they immediately see a butterfly, the medium just immediately knows, oh, grandma passed away, right? And then there will be other symbols and other things that they would see as well that would help them to determine how the person died, what the message is, and so forth. Steph says, I overthink things. Yeah, well, here's the thing. A lot of times too, though, like if you've spent a lot of time not listening to your intuition or burying it down, when the message comes up, you might feel uncomfortable because you've spent so much time burying it down. Whereas if you listen to it, it's like, oh, okay, I feel clear. I feel good. I just got to follow that. So, you also want to ask yourself, when did I start arguing with what I knew to be true? Like when did I start suppressing that? Because sometimes we suppress what we intuitively sense in order to fit in with people, in order to get along. Sometimes we suppress things because we're in a relationship or a job or a particular situation where our intuition has said, this is not the best thing for you, or you're only here for a certain amount of time. And maybe we want it to be something other than what it is. So we suppress that message in order to be able to stay in that situation. But the thing is, the more you suppress your intuition, the more difficult it is for you to feel the gut instinct, right? But if you just allow it to come up and you just let it rip and you follow it, eventually you'll get really, really confident because you'll know, 9 times out of 10, I'm right about these things, so I'm going to follow. Thank you, Steph. Thank you for the hearts. Arnesia says, I pick up on other people's feelings. How do we know the difference? Is it by strong urges to know what is mine? How do we? Well, so here's the thing. I always recommend ask the question, right? Like you can just ask the question. Like let's say, for example, um, if you're sitting with somebody, you can mentally ask God. You could ask Spirit. You could just ask, "What I'm feeling is this my stuff? Is this something inside of me, or is this coming from the other person?" And then just wait, and you'll typically get an answer. The other thing too is that usually when something is yours, you'll feel it almost come from up inside and out. Like you'll feel it come from in your belly and come out. Versus if you just randomly get hit with sadness, that's not your emotion. You're picking up on something in the environment or somebody is sending things to you. Because think about it this way, like if I'm like this pen that I'm carrying, like if I just throw it, right? That like I'm sending that energy, right? Like, and a lot of times people, sometimes they'll do it purposely. Other times they won't even realize they're doing it. They'll be throwing energy around. So if you feel like something almost comes over you out of nowhere, 9 times out of 10, that is not yours. It's being sent to you by somebody else. But if you feel something inside coming up, it's yours. And you often have to ask Spirit, why am I feeling this now? And what do I need to do with it, if anything? Oh, thank you very much, Dee. Thank you, Little Dipper, for following me. I appreciate that. Yes, I appreciate it. Anybody who is watching the live, yeah, please follow me on TikTok. Also, I have a ton of videos and information on psychic education. Some of it I've put on my YouTube channel, and some of it I've just left up here. Because one of the things that I got from Spirit is to really scale down my social media. So I actually got rid of my Instagram. I got rid of LinkedIn. I felt like both of those sites were draining my energy. I don't know if anybody else has felt that way, but I personally felt that way. I still have Meta. I know how people feel about Meta, but I still have Meta. And I have TikTok. But beyond those two, I'm not doing much more right now in the way of social media. I've really scaled back on almost all of the sites. So if you want to stay connected with me, the best way to do it is either YouTube. So youtube.com/@live the light, or go to NicoleBowman.biz, which is my website, and all of my socials that I still do have are going to be there. Arnesia says, I literally so happened to wake up and join this live, so I was meant to be. Yeah, it's funny because I was initially not planning to do any more lives on TikTok. And I have learned that never say never, because you never know. But I prayed about it because I had finished doing readings earlier this evening. And I prayed about it, and like I'm wide awake anyway. I have my coffee. And Spirit was like, come on and do a live for a bit, and I'm glad that I did, because oftentimes when I come and do lives, I have a message to deliver, but then the live can go in so many different directions. Like you never know always where things take you. So, and I appreciate the people who are sending the hearts. Thank you very much. I'm not technologically savvy, so I don't know how any of that stuff works. I'm not. And it's so funny because I'm a millennial, so technically we did grow up with the internet, but to this day, I don't like the internet. Actually, I don't like it. I do prefer more face to face, or let's just meditate and meet each other in space travel or something. Oh, Penny says, I'm glad to have caught you also. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was, because I wasn't even planning. Arnesia is laughing. I don't like the internet. I don't like it. I don't. I never have. When I was in college, so Facebook came out when I was in college. Okay. So I'm an elder millennial, and Facebook came out when I was in college. So there are people that were getting the Facebook for their, with their college. You had to have your college email address, and you gave the college email address so you could do the Facebook. And I didn't join Facebook until 2009. So that was long. I graduated from college at that point. I was in grad school, and but yeah. But yeah, I'm not, but at the same time, there are beautiful things about the internet. I mean, it's connecting all of us here, and I think that that is great. For me, what I find is that it's important to have a life of balance. And what I also find, and I just say this is like a spiritual worker, technology, anything can drain you, right? Like anything can drain and pull energy, and you might find yourself in a space where it's no longer feeding or fortifying you or giving to you, and it's just draining you. And the internet is no exception. AI is no exception. So that's why. And Arnesia says, yes, balance and boundaries with the internet, 100%. Yeah, that's why I just scaled back. I prayed about it and I asked Spirit which apps I needed to keep. And I was actually getting ready to delete my TikTok, but I just got a feeling to hold on to it. So I did that. And, I do not, I have very mixed feelings about Meta. I always have. But Spirit said, no, keep that one as well. So I just held on to those two. And of course, I'll hold on to YouTube. But beyond that, my website is really the best way to connect with me. Arnesia says, LinkedIn had drained me last year. I'm slowly coming back for biz. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of how I feel. I had to really assess and evaluate LinkedIn, and I had to really ask myself, okay, I'm posting things, I'm putting out a lot of energy, but am I receiving anything back? Like, am I receiving anything? Like, is there anything that is making sense for me to stay here? And the answer consistently was no. And it was no month after month. And so I finally had to come to the understanding that I think that this has run its course, and it did. And I let it go, and I'm fine with it. I don't miss it. Penny says, I've started meditating and journaling, which I enjoy. Yeah, same. And also too, for me, I love to read. I'm a reader, but what I've noticed is, like, since I've been super active on social media, I'm not reading as much. Like, I'm not consuming as many books. So there's two books in particular that I want to complete before this month is over. So hopefully I'll finish those two. But what I've just noticed is that as I scale away and scale back from social media, I'm able to actually write. I'm able to create. I'm able to actually make things, right? Versus constantly being on a screen and it taking all of my time. Arnesia says, good point. I think we forget to ask, what are we receiving? Exactly. Because the social media app, they make money the longer you're on the app. So like, if you're on the app and you're posting and you're doing this and you're doing that, that is money for them. That is energy for them. That is currency for them. But it's like, what are you getting from it though? Like, what are you getting that is of value? Tangibly. Like, for some people, yes, they get paid through social media, but everybody doesn't. So if you're not getting paid in the monetary sense, how is it fortifying you energetically? Like, what are you giving? Because I think you should give as well, but also, what are you receiving? And that's what I had to think about. I had to think about, what is it giving to me? I think for me on TikTok, what I have found is that I have connected with so many people that we're clearly a vibrational match to each other. Like, even in this live, so many people that are in the room that have come through, we are clearly matching energetically. There's clearly like a flow of energy and an exchange of energy that's reciprocal that I think we can all feel. Right. And that's when I love social media. That's when I think social media is at a sweet spot and at a really amazing point. But when it's draining people and people are crashing out and like people are having to, like, I've got to be on social media to make money, like, that's when I don't like it as much. I think there has to be a happy medium. It has to be a fair exchange. You can't just be draining yourself, can't just be draining. But yeah, that's how I personally feel about it though. I feel that way. But yeah, as long as TikTok is here, as long as it doesn't get too bizarre, I'll stay. I'll stay because there's just so many people that I most likely would not have met otherwise had it not been through this app. Like and there are a lot of people that I know in real life that I knew before TikTok that have come here too. Oh, Arnesia says you're glowing, sparkling, by the way. We can always see it. Oh, thank you so much. I really that is so kind of you to say. Now, this light though is actually my desk light by my bed. But thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Because I actually have been working on balancing my energy. So I will say some of it is the light in the room, but some of it is most definitely spirit and balancing the energy for sure. For sure. Thank you, your inner light. I appreciate you. Thank you, Arnesia. Thank you. Yeah, but that is it. For the Americans, this is what I wanted to say. So this is what I have been feeling, and I think a lot of people have felt this. There has sort of been this low level depression and this anger and this like underlying rage energy that I think most Americans have picked up on. It's palpable, right? You could feel it. It's not at a fever pitch, but it's like underneath the surface. Um, you're gonna have to let some people find out. That's just what it is. Like at this point in our spiritual growth and understanding, I've said this like so many different times. I feel like a broken record, but there are people who have been doing their spiritual work and there are people who have not. And the people who have not been doing their spiritual work are now at a space where they're spiraling out of control because they can't plug into other people as batteries anymore. A lot of women, especially women of color, but a lot of women in general, are choosing themselves. So they are no longer doing the emotional labor for the community, for example. Like if it's not their children, like if it's not themselves, if it's not their significant other, if they do have a supportive spouse, they're not pouring in anymore. And so what's happening is you're having a lot of people spiraling out of control because they can no longer plug into people and siphon off their energy. So just be aware, there's a lot of energetic vampirism going around, and be mindful of social media right now too, because there's a lot of bots. There are a lot of profiles that are not even actual people. They are bots. They're on a computer screen and they're just typing questions, starting arguments, just trying to get people to spiral, trying to pull people into things. Arnesia says lots of people are moving or looking to move away from the US. Yeah, yeah. That's something that I saw like last year I was seeing that. And I shared that on the app, that I saw. I felt like 2024 and 2025, but I actually see this as late as 2028. I see people leaving, and not just leaving the United States, but leaving other countries as well. I see that. I see people moving. And I do feel like people have to be careful because the storms around the world are going to intensify. And so you really have to go within and ask spirit where you need to be on the planet versus just going somewhere because it's popular. Because there are a lot of people trying to go places because it seems like the popular thing to do. But you have to understand, if you are not a vibrational match to that city, that country, that state, that land, it might be difficult for you to survive there. Yeah, I feel like it's only going to intensify with the moving though. I really, really, I think that the moving is only going to intensify. It's only going to um, get more extreme, you know? So, one of the major things that I would say around that is like, make sure that you go into prayer and make sure you ask spirit where you need to be or what would be the best fit for you. Um, because if you go within and you ask spirit, spirit will not lead you astray. Just won't. Just won't. Um, I wanted to share. Okay, so one final thing. So if you are looking to, oh, let me see what Arnesia says. I think you answered my question that I didn't realize it needed to be answered. Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen, I've traveled many different places. I've lived many different places. I've been to places where life moved very freely and with ease, other places where it was more difficult, everything in between, right? But one of the things I will say, wherever you travel to, when you get there, you need to greet the spirits of that land and tell them, you know what, I'm here to be of service, I'm here to help, or I'm here to have my vacation and have a good time. But when you come, just be respectful. Especially if you're by the water, you can go by the sea and basically just say, I want to speak to the evolved spirits of this land. And I want you to know that I'm here as a visitor. I'm here as a traveler. And I just want to enjoy this space. And I just want you to know that I honor you. And you'd be surprised, but it goes a long way. But always focus on connecting with the elevated energy of the land versus the energy that tends to be more chaotic. Because just like people, spirit can be chaotic too. Yeah. So the final thing I was going to say, if you want guidance on how to develop your intuition, I have a series of recorded material on a site called Gumroad. So if you go to my link tree, which is in my bio here on YouTube, just click on my link tree and click on subscribe. And it will take you to my Gumroad site with tons of recorded material. And everything is very reasonably priced, just to be clear, because it's all digital material. So everything ranges in price anywhere from like $5 all the way up to like $50. So as I said before, it's not an expensive site. It's just that a lot of times I get tons of downloads of material and information. And so some of it I share on TikTok, some of it I share on YouTube, some of it I put on a site like Gumroad, because I know that it's a very specific type of information that everybody is not going to get or want, but certain people will want it. Penny says, getting sleepy. Good night, Nicole. It was great to see you. It was great to see you as well, Penny. It was great to see you as well. Yeah, no problem, Arnesia. Yeah. And also too, if you go to NicoleBowman.biz and click on spiritual guidance, you'll see it there too on the front page. But I think that I am going to log off as well. I think that we've shared everything we need to share. So I'm going to surround us with the light of the Holy Spirit. And I pray that for those of you that are getting ready to go to sleep, you have a peaceful sleep and your dreams are protected. For those of you that it's like it's daytime wherever you are, enjoy your day. And for everybody else, wherever you are, I just pray that Great Spirit, the Creator, protects you, that your evolved ancestors walk with you and you be at peace. And definitely follow me on TikTok. Follow me at NicoleBowman.biz. You can go to my website there. All my socials are on there. And as I always say, remember to live your light, live your bliss, love yourself. Thank you, Arnesia. Yeah, have a good day, night, wherever you are. And yeah, I think we're there, you guys. So I'm going to log off and we'll see what happens with this live. I might upload it to my YouTube. I don't know. It depends on the quality of it because it was glitching, but we'll see. All right, you guys. So have a good day, night, wherever you are. Ashe.